So I have to be mindful of the fact that we have been on this session for a few hours. So I will try my best to wrap it up within 15-20 minutes. That is one of the ways that we can actually be mindful. We can be mindful, but I can tell everyone, if you will oblige, to stretch your hands and just stretch, because it's been a long, if you want to get up, you can get up and just stretch, because it's mindfulness, and this is what we do for our children.
I told you she's very energetic, and she's going to take us through this.
If I had the music go, I will play the music for us to just stretch and just feel good about ourselves, because it's not easy. And I really commend us for pushing and pushing and pushing through this pandemic, webinars coming out of our ears. So I will wrap this up as quickly as possible, but I will try and get all the points into it. When Dr. Van asked me to talk about mindfulness, I started asking her questions like, what exactly does she want me to talk about? Not out of ignorance, but out of surprise. Because this is the first time, this COVID-19, I'm sure I've done over 50 webinars. And this is the first time anybody would tell me to talk about mindfulness. If I remember, I said, what exactly do you want me to talk about?
I remember,
In Nigeria, we are being mindful. So I really commend this platform and the organizers for being mindful. Mindfulness is something that even Harvard University teaches as a whole program. And it's such a huge, massive, I can't even finish mindfulness, but I will just touch on some things that are important that we should be doing at this time. We've had so many outstanding speakers already today, so many outstanding contributions, but how are we going to be mindful going forward? So I'll quickly share my slides if I have permission now to.
Yeah, you do. You do have permission. Please share, please.
Okay, so let me pick up my slides. Thank you. So here we are. Okay. If you don't mind confirming to me that you can actually see.
Yeah, I can see it. Yes, it's up.
So the introduction has already been done. I will not belabor that too much. I just put that for the sake of completeness. What I've been told to talk about is mindful teaching practices. And I would begin with my areas of focus. So area of focus, the children. And we have our children that we want on a global scale. I've heard that our children are on a global scale at the moment, but it comes as a surprise to me. So I'm also learning as well. I don't have all the answers. But if you ask Ronke Poshe, are Nigerian children generally on a global scale and can compete internationally at this time since the COVID-19? And we're not talking about the few children that are online. The few children are online. I'm sure they can represent maybe less than 10% of the whole country. You know, we still have the north that even before the COVID, many children don't even go to school. Some local governments, I understand, don't even have schools there. So those are also Nigerians. We're not talking about Lagos alone. So when we think about all those children and we factor them in, are we truly on global standards? Can our children compete head to head with children from Singapore, Australia, and around the world? If you ask me, I don't have the data to back it up, but just looking around and listening and following, I would say no. Now, are we raising local champions or we are raising global champions? Are we raising innovators or are we raising just children that will just be effective in Nigeria alone? Which type of children do we really want to raise at this time, and how are we going to do it? We have the curriculum, we have the strategies and all that, but there's a softer side. There's this emotional intelligence that we need. There's this love quotient that we need. There's this mindfulness that we need so that we can work effectively with these children. A lot of these children have been at home. Whether they were doing lesson online, whether they were not doing lesson online, that's not the point. This is a crisis. How are they managing? How are they coping? How are they coping at this time? A lot of them, their parents lost their jobs. Some of them even lost family members. How are they coping at this time? Are we sensitive to that fact? When they go back to school, we want to bridge the knowledge gap. Are those children in a prepared state to even want to bridge any gap? Or are they mourning? Are they grieving? Are they missing their friends? Are they missing the playground? Some of them, if you ask my children and the they will tell you that I can't wait to climb the swing and the playground. But guess what? We may not be climbing that playground for a while, even if you come back to school. We have to be mindful of those facts that school is not going to be the same, at least not immediately. Things are going to change. Things have changed and they will continue to change. Look at all the measures, all the guidelines from the 52-page document that we have to implement in schools. How about the teachers have not been paid salaries for so many months, and we want them to come and bridge a gap? Are they going to be happy to even come back to work? Some of them have started businesses. Some of them have started leaving the sector, which is so sad, because I don't even believe we have enough good teachers already. I think we need more people in the sector. Hence, I started doing free programs on my YouTube channel for people to go there. If you want to learn graphic, go and learn graphic, but don't leave the sector. Just find something you can do and still remain an educator, because we need educators. Already as it is, when somebody does not have a job, they say, go and teach. Why should I teach in Go and do one teacher job until you find a good job. So people already believe that the brand of the teacher, those people that can drop out and stuff like that. But when the COVID happened, these dropouts are the ones that are supposed to save the whole world. So it's a double standard, isn't it? You want the people that you don't believe are good enough to be the ones to become technologists, to become IT savvy, to become developers overnight, and save the whole country. And I must echo what has been said already, that a lot of teachers really rose up at this time to do so much. But this lot of teachers, are they the minority, just like the children that are online? Are all the teachers in Nigeria, can we even say 80% of teachers online have started learning to use a computer, have started learning to go online, even if it's WhatsApp? Because I don't want us to focus on the bubble and be assuming that, Oyo State, Ogun State, Lagos State, all those sort of states, and maybe Anambra State and stuff like that. I want us to think about the Adamawa, the Kogi State, where I'm from, and places like that. Because I know when people in my Kogi State, the story is a bit different there. We have to be mindful when they come back. How about the parents? What are they going through? When this pandemic happened, one of the things that we did at Poshe was, in fact, the first meeting we had was not a PTA meeting or anything like that. The first meeting we had was strictly for mental and emotional well-being and how to balance homeschooling at home. Because you can't give what you don't have. How does a parent that is going through so much challenges, maybe at work, at home, how does a parent that have 3 children, some of them in different schools, and all I want them to resume online at 8 o'clock? How does that parent manage it? How do they manage the cooking, manage all sorts of things? We have to be mindful. And mindfulness, they're just simple strategies. Some of them are already even practicing mindfulness. Just don't call it mindfulness. Someone like us at Poshe, we call it calm. So there are times when we just play very subtle, simple music in the background. And you will see that we'll just tell the children to just take it easy. Some people just call it quiet time. Take some time out and focus. Some people would say it's meditation. Some people will call it anything you want, but just be mindful. And some of us, sometimes we're going to do a mindful exercise. For those that will love to indulge, we'll do one before the end of the day, and to see how much of a difference it made. Even what we started with at the beginning, just stretching and doing something, we are just being mindful and being mindful of the fact that we have been sitting here for such a long time. And I must not come here and now start talking for another 1 hour if I know that I can truly deliver what I want to do in 15 minutes. Can I chunk the material up? Can I chunk it up so that people can get on with their lives, go and eat eba amala after such a long day? So we have to think of the children. We have to think about the educators. We have to think about everybody. In fact, mindfulness even goes as far as the government, because the government are under pressure because everybody is pointing at them now. The government didn't do this. They did not give us phone. They said radio. They said television. They said this one. They gave some people phone there, and they did not give some people. So the pressure is on. And guess what? We are the government, because we are also human beings. The government were picked out from amongst us. We are the government. I keep telling everybody, we are the government of your children's education. So we must holistically, collectively do this mindfulness together. So types of mindfulness, so mindful teaching practices. At this time when there are school closures, children are online. Some people were sending electronic worksheets. And I know someone asked if we could have electronic worksheets. There are electronic worksheets, there are different apps that you can use as well. Those exist on my YouTube channel that you can actually use to interact with the children. They don't have to use paper all the time. We didn't really use a lot of paper at Poshe during this virtual. We only did that for preschoolers because we wanted their fine motor and skills to develop very well. And there are doodle boards and stuff that children can actually use. But that's on the side. Okay. So at this time, mindful teaching practices, schools are closed. Teachers are upskilling. Some teachers, everything is not a blanket statement. Yeah. Some teachers are upskilling at this time. They're expected to be superheroes and doing all sorts of things. What is the brand of the teachers? We had teachers going on social media and begging for money, and people were donating money as people were abusing teachers. We had a teacher that was saying she wanted to kill herself, all sorts of things online. I'm a social media person, so I see so many things online. But we must be mindful of the fact that when things like this are happening, this COVID pandemic is going to go away one day. And even if it doesn't go away, we are going to have to learn to live with it. Whatever digital footprint that we leave is going to be there forever. So a teacher that goes and starts tagging people and abusing people and saying they need money and putting their bank accounts on the internet must remember that when all this goes away, that people still have put that information on their phone. They've captured their screenshots, they've kept it. You might be looking for a job somewhere else, even if it's not in the teaching sector, and they will remember you for that post or for that begging. I understand that it's hard, and that was part of the reason. It's one thing to be saying, don't beg, don't do anything. What are the solutions that I had in place? So I started telling people online freely that what are the things that you can do? You can engage your mental faculties at this time. You have content. Can you create an ebook at this time? Can you even create sanitizers at this time? What are the things that you can do? I started putting content out on my channels to let people know that just create something. You can do social media management. You see something. Many people are organizing webinars these days. You see some flyers full of pictures, very horrible, full of nasty colors. Create something for them and then say, look, this is what I reproduced your content for you. Look how beautiful it is. Do you like it? I can do 10 for you for 5K or whatever the amount may be. That is pitching. Okay, how about your social media management? Schools are going to resume. Can I help you to be doing posting on Facebook and all your other places? What are the things that you can do? Within us is a lot. We must not just assume that we must go and sell meat or something. It's okay to do that. I've sold cakes before. I've sold many things in my life. In fact, my mom calls me Zio Malu or something like that. She told me one name, and I'm always selling one thing or the other. So I'm a seller too. So that's not even the point. But my point is when we are doing anything, we should be mindful of the fact that we want to retain teachers in the educational sector, and we also want their brand to be good. When I spoke at APEN last year, one of the things I spoke about was the brand of the teacher. The brand of the teacher is already somehow, they don't expect teachers to have anything. They don't even expect teachers to have a car. They don't expect teachers to have to look good, to smell good. There's an expectation of that teachers must be poor, they must be smelling, and all those sort of things. And we must change that narrative. And how can we change it? By being mindful. We've talked about salaries today, but however the government can help, they should please help because people need to eat. People are creating side hustles. Please, schools, people that are managing schools should not just say that teachers should not go and be doing things. Support them. If they want to do something and they're standing, patronize them. There's no need to be insecure. People just need, it's barely economy at the moment. People need to eat. We need to be mindful of the fact that people need to eat. Anybody that is not eating at the bottom of Maslow's food chain, and they will be struggling. Why would someone that has not even have a full belly and the children need food will come to the classroom and give their very best? So we need to be supportive of each other at this time. We should not condemn some people, because some people, teachers have already said that they want to put things online, but if the school owner to catch them, they're in trouble. They may lose their job at this time. But what is the alternative if salaries are not being paid at this time? And for those that can pay, please be mindful. Please pay up the salaries, because I'm not personally convinced that every school does not have the budget to pay their teachers. Poshe is a very, very small school, and to God be the glory, and with all humility, we have been paying full salaries since the COVID pandemic, and our school is only 8 years old. And I believe that there are schools, I know schools take loans and they do all sorts of things. I understand, I'm not saying that it's a blanket statement, but I'm convinced that there are still schools that can pay salaries. They should please pay salaries. Be mindful of the fact that it's not only the teaching staff that are very important at this time. Non-teaching staff are also important. They are part of your team. When school resumes, you're still going to need them. Whatever the stipend it is that you can give at this time, please be mindful. Okay. mindfulness in the new normal. So they'll be calling it new normal. I don't even know to say new normal. And the reason why I don't say new normal is because anything that is not normal is abnormal. Anything that is not normal is abnormal. There's no new normal in my own dictionary. I don't know what new normal is. If you are not fine, you are ugly. If you are not up, you are down. If you are not normal, you are abnormal. So are we going to be living in an abnormal world now? When you say, what is it new normal? Living in abnormal. This is our abnormal life. This is our abnormal life. God forbid that we are not abnormal life. But this new normal, I'm sorry, I cannot embrace it because it is strange. It is strange for my child to come to school and be crying, and I cannot say sorry to my child. It is strange that they will fight on the playground and say, don't stop it. What are you? Stop it. Don't, if I catch it. Or it's strange for them to fall down, and I cannot rush to them to try and help them up because I don't want contact, because I want to wear, because I'm weary of it. A school is a social environment. If socialization has been reduced in a school, then can we still call it a school? Should we start calling it new school or abnormal school? What should we call it? Because it's weird that we go to school, especially the preschoolers, all the children that give themselves high fives, swings, all sorts of things that make school school. Contact makes school. Contact is part of what makes school very, very special. And then now they're taking that social interaction away from us. So why don't you just stay at home and just continue and be antisocial if you cannot come to school and socialize? So when the school children come back, how are we going to be mindful? When we were online, we were asking our children, and they're very important. Part of our values, we are very child-centered. Okay, if you're child-centered, what were we doing to be mindful? We were asking our children how they were feeling. Most of them, they are missing their friends. So on Fridays, we would even have a hangout with our children where the teachers will just be on the side to monitor their activity and make sure everything's okay. But they'll just be talking to you like, hello, Bala, hello, Kelly, hello, Ruab, how are you? Is that your house? That was now the equivalent of hanging out. This is how that was now the playground. We'll just put all of them on Zoom, anything they want to be doing and saying, we're just there to just monitor. So we had periods of time so that they can feel happy and they can connect with their friends. How were we doing it with the teachers as well? We were doing the same thing. So we were doing it daily when we started. But as time got on and everybody was coping, because we were mindful of the fact at the beginning that it was challenging for some people. Some school owners will tell them, go and do Zoom, go and do that. But they themselves cannot do it. This is a crisis. Some people have never done Zoom in their life. And you're forcing them to go and do Zoom in somebody else's house. It's very, very challenging. Not being mindful. When that happened, there's something called situational leadership, which you had to, the role that many school leaders should have taken. Situational leadership implies that you yourself must do it. Lead by example. So guess what? I was leading it, even down to my preschoolers. The color of the week is blue. The color of the week is blue. The color of the week is blue. The itty bitty spider went up the spider. Because when they see me doing this, there's no more problem now. Ms. Ronka has done it. She has showed us how to do it. So anything that we were going to do, the training, everything. And then when we feel, how did it go? How are you feeling? There was a time that a teacher and the parents, there was stress because the stress came at this time, and the teacher and the teacher and the parent, there was a little bit of friction. She came on after school. We came on the Zoom call. What happened? She expressed herself. She cried like, "Oh my God, this thing is so stressful." It's okay to cry. It's okay to cry. Allow that mindfulness. Now, allow them to be able to express themselves at such a challenging time. Everything is not book. Because we are just delivering like robots. We must know that we are made of spirit, soul, and body. We are emotional beings, and we must nurture that emotional side of us. People are frustrated. Parents were frustrated all around, In fact, at some point, I was keeping quiet about what was happening at Poshe because when there's a certain WhatsApp group and attacking schools and everything, and parents at Poshe school, they were cooperative. They were even suggesting things. Why don't we do that? Why don't you do that? I was thinking, is it normal? Is it new normal? Is it abnormal? What is this? What's wrong with my own parents? Or what is right with them? Because they were not giving us problem. The few that said they had challenges with the payment, they did not fight a form water group. They came to meet us. We were able to do arrangements. Why? Because mindfulness meant that communication is very important. Mindfulness meant that you get their thoughts. So we did surveys and we were hearing from them, not just what we want to do at the school. How are the parents? Are they able to pay? How are they feeling? Are they coping? Do they have enough devices? We were doing surveys. I told them you'll be hearing from us every day until we get to a place where we are at an equilibrium, where we are okay. Even I had a parent tell me that, Miss Roque, sorry, I had to send a newsletter to another school because it was full of empathy. Because empathy was lacking in many places, and that is why we had some people sending screenshots. I had people in schools telling me that their parents were saying that they would bring the school down, they will not pay. Some schools were doing free and all sorts of things. And I said to myself, hey, schools are doing free, all sorts of things. How can we do free? It's online, it's online. It's online, but the content creation, because we were not referring people to YouTube at Le Poshe School. We were not doing that. We were creating content right from scratch. Right from scratch. If you go to Harvard, they are doing a course online. They will not say because it's online that it will come down. Value is value. And because from my observation, Nigerians don't generally value education. That was why we had this big raging fight all over the place. And another thing that was observed was that a lot of people are in schools that they cannot afford, because the COVID pandemic happened just before end of term. If it happened just before end of term, you should already have been getting the money ready for the following term. You won't start screaming immediately about school fees. If you started screaming immediately, then that means you didn't have plans for the school fees. If you started screaming after third term that, how are you going to do September? I tell you, we will hear that one. But when you started screaming immediately, it means that you are looking for a way out immediately. People were dragging schools on social media, putting things online. That is not the way to go. That is not how a parent can be mindful, because their children are going to come back to that school at this time. How are they going to be mindful? Even parents, look at what happened yesterday where somebody is putting their children online. Is that mindfulness? The child is going to grow up and be stigmatized or traumatized. Look at what has happened. How is that parent being mindful? By posting private moments of the child online. So it's very important that we are mindful. We should not air our frustration. We should not look for likes online. We should just think of mental and emotional well-being. And if we are overwhelmed, we need to seek to get help. In Nigeria, the minute you say you want to see a psychologist or some mental health expert or something, they will say, weary, he's mad. No, you're not. It doesn't mean somebody is mad. Somebody can be stressed, and you just need to decompress, kind of. You just want to start again, and there's nothing wrong with speaking to somebody, and the person should be qualified, because some people believe, let me go and speak to the elder or the imam in church or somebody in the mosque or whatever the case may be. Sometimes you just need to speak to somebody that you don't even know, that's just a qualified, certified person, and then you will feel better almost immediately. Sometimes you need some sessions. How can we be mindful? Even with the children, constantly listening to them, their ideas and their suggestions. Sometimes we'll tell our children, go and draw how you feel. How do you draw a feeling? Obviously, we know that we don't know what a feeling is, but go and draw a feeling. How are you feeling? And then we'll put happy. And then they'll put all sorts of things, how they are feeling. What do you want? When school comes back, what would you like to do? Who will be the first? Just give them random questions. Just be mindful of how they are feeling. Take breaks. And then we know that the learners in the class are different. We have the visual learners, the auditory learners, the kinesthetic learners, auditive teachers, and all of a sudden, the learning has shifted mainly to visual. How about the auditory ones? We had a child, for example, who was highly kinesthetic in the classroom, and we want him to be sitting down in the classroom. When the mother said she doesn't know how to keep this boy on this, or to sit down just for 1 hour, we started to discuss with the parents, communication, critical thinking. You know what? We realized that he loves to draw, he loves art, he loves coloring, and he's highly intelligent. He's one of the most intelligent, if not most intelligent class academically in that class. So when the teacher is teaching, he's coloring and he's drawing. Guess what? He sits still throughout the 30-40 minute lesson. He gets the knowledge. Why? What did we do? We are mindful of the fact that the children in our class, they are different. Mindfulness, very, very important. We are very mindful of the fact that not every parent was able to pay. One thing I said at Le Poshe, I said, no matter what, even if a parent should come, I told admin, don't call me that the parent cannot pay. What should you do? Anybody that calls, even though I did not tell them that, but I said anybody that calls and say they can't pay or anything, just say it's okay, they should continue, because I was not willing to leave one single child behind at this time, because the COVID came upon us. The parents did not bring the COVID, the children did not bring the COVID, the teachers did not bring the COVID. I did not know how we were going to do it, but I wrote a newsletter, and in the newsletter I said, if you have money to support another parent, please feel free to do so as well. Because let me tell you something, this COVID is everybody that is broke. Everybody is not broke during this COVID. There are people that are even making a lot of money right now during this COVID.
Exactly.
Yes. So we can't assume that everybody is broke. When people are saying that there's no money in the country, I gotta be looking, because I know People are making money. This COVID, I wrote an ebook, 101 Tips to Stop the Beating and the Shouting, because people were beating their children at home. And in my Facebook group, I'm an advocate of no beating and shouting. There are ways around it. I did a book, I sponsored it on Facebook, I put it on YouTube, I put it everywhere. Even today, 3K, bang, 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 put it on Paystack, put PayPal on it and put it in my bank account. Bang, bang, big. It's an ebook. You don't even need to call me. It will download itself automatically. I've already put plugins on my website. Don't even talk to me, just get the book. It's working for itself. So don't assume that money cannot be made at this COVID. We just need critical thinking and creativity, ideas at this time. I have a friend, Emeka, right now. Just when Dr. Van called me right now and said, I have not joined, it was because I was speaking at his own event about how you can use YouTube to make a lot of money at this time. So I had to do a quick 30-minute session with him, and there are strategies to make money at this time. We just can't assume that if we're not collecting salary that money cannot be made. God has given us this brain, and this brain, there's so much insight, and we can make money at this time. Even coming to speak, it's not everywhere I go and speak that I will not collect money. With Dr. Van, we have relationship. If somebody else wants me to go and talk, I have what they call a speaker's kit. I would just say, okay, that's fine. I would love to speak at your show. Can I have your email address? I'll just send you my speaker's kit. Some of them don't even know the meaning of speaker's kit. And now they see my bill there, they're like, don't get touched. I said, okay, how much you go pay? You know, even if you cannot pay the full amount, you pay me something. So I can't be going and burning data and intellectual property and content all over the place. Considering the fact that, so that I know beyond, I was telling my admin to count for me. I know beyond the shadow of that this COVID alone has spoken at over 50 places. And then I will not get paid for anything. I love talking about using my data. Really. I love Nigeria, but I must eat. You know, so everything can be monetized. Stuff can be monetized. So what is the impact on relationships at this time? Relationship between the teacher, you know, some people, children were natural teachers' pets, and now everybody on the screen now at the same level at this time. How do you meet? How do you differentiate? There's differentiation. Now, what even makes this online thing so difficult and challenging, and people underestimated it, was the fact that the differentiation exists in the classroom. We had children that had additional needs. That normally some of them come to school with psychologists and stays in class, or therapists that stays with them to do intervention, maybe 2 hours or for the time when they're in school. Now, we do that at home. The therapists cannot come home because of the COVID pandemic. It's just we and the teachers. When we create material and content for the class, you cannot give them the same content because they are differentiated. You have to now, after being tired, sometimes 2, 3 a.m. was when I was sleeping in the beginning. Then you now create content for all those children that needed additional tasks, or they need activity-based class, or those ones are not reading the same way. You will now create something else. Stressful. You will edit the video, you will record the video, you will sing the song, you will call their names, you know, you will customize their plans. Everything was done, an individual education plan for every child. And then people are saying that it's online. The back end of it was not funny at all. I always tell people that I'm sure that it's just the grace of God that even my husband is still married to me today, because I didn't have time. I was constantly here. Before all my children got to the level that they were able to sail, I was there. You tell me something, I'll say, you're not sitting properly, you're not doing this properly. Say, for example, now I'm doing this Zoom thing. A lot of people do this Zoom. I'm doing a video that I want to put on my YouTube channel. If you're not there, subscribe. When you're doing a YouTube channel, don't look down. You should not be looking at a device. It shouldn't be like that. A lot of people put their design on the table, so they are looking down. That is not the professional way to be. You're also supposed to be looking straight up, and if you notice, my lighting is very, very nice. All those type of things, even though a lot don't think about it, we just get on Zoom, they are very, very important skills. They are very, very important strategies, and they separate that professionalism. They just show it off as, look at this video. I'm sure, don't you like how I'm looking shiny in this my video? The lighting is just, you know, it's just mindful of everybody, you know, and it helps engagement. Sometimes when you're blurry and the NEPA is taking light and you're still managing, you know, nobody wants to watch that. Even when they watch the replay, that you're watching this, they don't want to watch that sort of thing. So the children managed at this time, again, is the minority of the children that are settled in Nigeria. It is the minority. We must not make the mistake of thinking that many of the children are settled. I don't have the actual data, but just thinking about the north alone, I keep saying it, just the north alone, there are many. I know the north a lot because I lived in Kaduna. That was where I was raised before I finished came to Queen's College. I was in Kaduna, so I know how children are all over the place, not going to school, and that was then. Not to even talk of now. There's a lot of confusion. There's anxiety at this time, especially the older children. A couple of weeks ago, parents were calling me and telling me that their children were masturbating online or watching pornography, joining WhatsApp group. I had to create a video and put again on YouTube to say this is how to tackle it. When you see your child watching porn, what do? You kill yourself. You don't kill yourself. They've already watched it, and some of you are still watching it. Some of you are even still doing it. I told them on the show. So your parents are doing it, but the one that they see their children are doing it, hey, it's a sin. You go to hellfire. All those kind of things. Be mindful. Be mindful that they are online. You yourself should have been tracking them. The software to track the children, like QO Studio, like a family link, like screen time. You can monitor their screen time. Make sure that they're not in their room with Wi-Fi. Make sure that they're in open spaces in the house. There's so many ways that you can stop a child from watching pornography. Discuss it. Be open about it. Tell them, especially when they are teens. People masturbate. People do watch pornography because it was so common amongst the teenagers. That's what they were doing. They were sexting. They were sending pictures of their nudes to other friends, and they were getting into trouble. They were touching themselves in front of their friends and getting into trouble. Parents were catching them. So my parenting group was blowing up because people were complaining. If I one called me in the middle of the night one day, she said, "Ronke, if not because of you, I would have killed my son by now." I said, He said, I caught him. I said, it's okay, calm down. If they don't have nothing to do, that's what they will be doing. You just have to educate them. You have to educate them. So I had to invite experts like Praise for Huawei, Taiwo Akelami, all the Nigerian leading experts in child protection and all this sort of thing to have a webinar. It's on the YouTube channel. You can go and watch it there if you need help for schools and everything. To engage, subscribe, it's free. All those material content, I keep putting it out there because we need to be mindful of those children, what they're doing at this time. A child will not just decide that, I just feel like manipulating, let me go and do it. There's a reason. There's no enough adequate engagement at this time. So you must ensure, you must fill the gap. If you don't want the child to do something at a particular time, so between 9 and 10, they're not doing anything. So tell them what to do. What are they going to be doing at that time? There's nothing to do, so they'll tamper with themselves. So some children don't even care whether they go to school or they don't go to school. Some children are actually happy at home because they were bullied on the playground. So they're like, thank God, let this coronavirus not go away. Let me just be here for the rest of my life because all those bullies in the class. So we can't just assume that they all want to come back to school. No, they don't want to come back to school. Some teachers don't even want to come back to school. They're like, that's a head teacher or administrator always bullying me. As long as they can pay me online, I'm okay. We must be mindful. We must be checking everybody out, knowing how they are mentally and emotionally. It's very, very important so that people can cope with anxiety at this time. We must be mindful and we must be tracking what the government are doing. We are getting all sorts of communication. First of all, it was delayed communication. We didn't hear when after the schools were closed, and then when we heard something, it was radio, transistor radios, it was what was the other one? Television, and then we started hearing that some people had phones. In fact, somebody sent me a video of a phone they received from the government. I've seen some people post videos of, but some people are saying, which phone? Which this? We don't know what is going on. Can there be just one place where everybody can just go every morning, even if it's Instagram or Twitter or Facebook? Every morning you go there, just like you do for CDC. Every morning you see how many new cases, how many deaths, how many things. Can we go somewhere? And every time we log to that place, anybody around the world will just know that they have given 100 phones to all the children in Ikoyi, all the children in Abulegba, they all have phones. Can we have one central place? Will we keep getting also a fake post? Somebody will send something to me, I'll be like, hey, is it even true? Can I even share this? This one, wow. You don't even know what is credible and what is not credible. So mindfulness also has to happen amongst our leadership because a lot of people were very scared. When they said third term or no third term, a lot of people, schools followed me online and they were looking for lead instruction that we can't hear from the government. What the local is going to do? She and I have big mouths. What is she going to do? And I tell people, continue with your third term content, continue your content, third term content. And they said, okay, they will continue. They said we should not do third term. In fact, in the north, they were saying that if you do third term, you will be arrested. And that's okay. Then tell them. So I wrote to my parents, we're not calling it third term. They said we should not call it third term. Let's not break the law. We are not calling it third term. We're just going to be teaching curricula that is relevant to the age of the children. Whether it's content or not, that one is not for me to say. They just said we should not call it third term, so we call it virtual term. Even the report cards, we wrote virtual term. When we did our graduation, we wrote virtual term. Vanguard picked it up, Punch picked it up. Everybody, something was blowing up when they saw our graduation because we did it online as well. But we did not do third term. So even when we resume, we tell us to do third term, we start it. We tell us to do first term, we start it. What is it? maybe it's artificial constructs, they call it. Just give the children the content. My own pride lies in the fact that my children had a graduation. My pride remains in the fact that they are on par with children around the world, which is important. So everybody needs this mindfulness. It's very, very important. The future of virtual learning, teachers should model this mindfulness. They should substitute one activity with another. So if one thing is not working, please find another thing for your child. Use your voices, use your voice, body language, use exercise, implement mindfulness all the time. Have fun. We cannot give what we do not have. How can a child be having fun with children when the person has worry and anxiety on their mind? What am I going to do? Even your own children. At some point, even one of my teachers, she said to me that her own children's school were not doing online and they were struggling and everything. And I know that if her own children are not going to school, how is she going to be? And she lives quite far, but she wants to work at the Poshe. And she can't be bringing her children from where she lives because it's too far. And all this, and she's online anyway because we are already close. Put your children online. If it's now online, let them join us. She can, there's no problem. Mindfulness, because I know that if she's not settled and children are not settled, she's not going to give the Poshe kids that she's teaching. She's not going to give them the best. So have fun and don't try to be perfect. Be okay to make mistakes. Let people make mistakes. We got correct by failing forward. So I'll conclude by saying, everybody, if you are going to indulge me and you don't mind respectfully, let us be mindful. Let me see if I can stop my screen. And conclude. Stop share. Okay, so let me get to gallery view. Good. So let us be mindful. If you are able to put on your screen, it's okay. We don't mind what you look like. It's okay. We're in one family. Let us be mindful and let's take deep breaths. Let's go. Because it's a mindful exercise. Breathing is very strong. It's very powerful when we are being mindful. So we're going to take 3 deep breaths, first of all, on my count. So let's go. 1, and then hold it until I say 2. 1. Out. In. Out. In again. Out. How did that make you feel? So we're done for the day. Thank you for being mindful and thank you for the audience.